Good Monday morning, Houston. I'm KHOU 11 meteorologist Kim Castro. We are waking up very cold this morning. We're actually under an extreme cold warning, not just for today, but for our Tuesday morning as well. That is going to be allowed to expire by midday on Tuesday. So now we've switched gears from talking about the potential for freezing, road conditions, and winter precip to more so the threat of just the cold air and being outside. Check this out, 26 degrees. That is a current temperature at IAH. Colder than yesterday even. We're down by 3 degrees. And the breeze is staying steady. So you'll notice it's sustained at 9 miles an hour. We are getting a couple of stronger wind gusts. I'll show you that in a second too. But it really makes a huge difference on what the air feels like on your skin. So 26 actually feels like 17, which is why we are encouraging you, if you can, to just be inside and be bundled up. When you are stepping outside though, to make sure that you are dressed in layers and that you've got all your bases covered, all your extremities, your hands, you got a nice little beanie on, you got a scarf, especially if you were planning on spending any time outside. Of course, if you're just going from your car to the office, you don't need all the gimmicks, all the get up, but you do if you're going to be spending time outside. Notice temperatures across the area were all in the 20s, some of us even colder than others, so especially in northern cities and counties. You'll notice Conroe is at 25 degrees, Sugar Land is at 29, which is exactly the same temperature that you had yesterday, but a couple of us running even colder. So Hobby Airport 28, down by 4 degrees compared to yesterday. Here's a look at some of those wind gusts that I'm tracking right now. So anywhere between 15 to 20, even 25 miles an hour. That is going to continue all the way through about lunchtime, and then wind should start to finally scale back just a little bit. Cold air is still going to be in place, but at least it's not going to feel as cold. At least the wind chill won't be as bad. Here is a live look towards Pleasure Pier. Everybody is staying nice and cozy. There are a couple people driving around and it's a fine day. It really is just cold outside. You'll notice the wind chill is pretty significant for the northwestern side of Southeast Texas. So we woke up actually with wind chill values in the low single digits. So that extreme cold warning is because the wind chill could get all the way down to 0 during the starts of our day. Of course, as we go throughout the next couple of hours, we will get a little bit of warmth. I say that very cautiously. We're gonna at least climb above freezing, but it's still gonna stay chilly throughout the rest of the day. 15 is the feeling right now in Wharton. If you're in Sugar Land and you step outside, it feels like it's 19 degrees. Same thing for Pearland and Angleton. So it feels like it's below 20. What is the wind chill? Okay, so basically our bodies are always trying to protect our internal organs, so the core part of your body. So when we are cold outside, it creates this warm layer around us. When there is wind, however, that wind blows away that thermal layer, and so that insulation that typically keeps us warm escapes, and our internal core temperature starts getting cold. The cycle repeats, so the body tries to protect itself. It creates another thermal layer. If the wind continues, that keeps getting blown away. And so, first of all, it makes it feel a lot colder. And then secondly, after prolonged exposure, it can be dangerous. It can be something that we have to monitor. This is mainly for prolonged stretches well below freezing. So that's something that if anybody works outside, should just keep in mind of. Notice we're not the only area that has that extreme cold warning. Actually, a huge chunk of the country is under those winter storm warnings. You'll notice most of the activity in terms of precipitation is about done. So the only precip warnings out there are for the Carolinas into Virginia. This is a winter storm advisory, which is a step down from a winter storm warning. So some leftover snow now cycling out of Maine and then eventually pushing off the eastern seaboard, and not a concern anymore. For the rest of us, it is just about the bitterly cold air that we are left behind with. So this is what I was telling you about. A couple of snow showers just working their way from New York into Boston, pushing up into the northeast, and then eventually just exiting. Other than that, it's pretty quiet. There's really no other precipitation to track. Some light showers, but just showers. Florida is actually the only spot that's pretty warm. The rest of us are all in good company, really, really cold. Notice Tampa's at 67, that's not bad. Miami's at 87. Orlando hit an all-time daily record temperature yesterday. So they're the only spot that is nice and cozy temperature-wise. You'll notice the desert Southwest isn't that bad. It's chilly, but it's pretty manageable. I'd take 50 degrees right now. That sounds better than our current 17 feels like temperature. But hey, it's all relative, because yes, it is feeling pretty cold here in the Lone Star State, but that is nothing compared to our friends in the Dakotas, to our friends in Minnesota. Look at Minneapolis. That feels like wind chill at negative 25 degrees. Negative 10 is the wind chill in Omaha. North Platte, also in Nebraska, at negative 3. Denver in the double digits, but barely. 11 is the feeling, and in Wyoming it is negative 3. So it could be worse. It could always be worse. But even the Panhandle has a negative number there. It feels like negative 2 in Amarillo. For actual air temperatures, really cold still. Notice Midlands at 12 degrees. Panhandle, Amarillo is at 10. You'll notice North Dakota is in the teens, and Minnesota's certainly seen some of the coldest air cycling down from Canada. So even their actual air temperatures are in the negative double digits. So chilly day today ahead for them, and it's gonna stay that way for the next few days. How about our local forecast? For the next few mornings, you're gonna stay below freezing or really close to that until Thursday. So it's still going to be really chilly, but at least we climb up out of that extreme cold warning territory. So we have that today, we have that tomorrow morning, and then eventually by the time we get into Wednesday, it's still cold, but it's not that cold that you have to resume or restrict your activities for. Today, for example, I'm skipping my run. It's not something that I want to be outside in. Tomorrow I'll probably get back to it, just because afternoon temperatures are going to be a lot more comfortable. Notice we're staying below average through the extended 7-day forecast. So our average low temperature should be 44 degrees. We'll get close to that on Friday. So that'll be a nice day. And then we get ready for another blast of cold air. This weekend is going to be chilly. So if you've dug into the coats closet over the last couple of days, you are going to be picking from it through the weekend. Your afternoon is going to feature some sunshine, so at least we get to see the return of that. Cloud cover starts to break by late morning. Still pretty cloudy outside, but I am starting to see some peaks of blue sky out there. 38 is going to be our high temperature at IAH. Some spots are going to push into the low 40s, and it'll feel nice when you're in the sunshine. So if you like the cold air and you want to experience that, it's going to be much better in the afternoon. Overnight temperatures, again, still below freezing. So tomorrow morning we're waking up at 29 if you're in Inwood Forest. If you're in Acres Homes, Aldine, same thing. 29 is going to be your starting temperature tomorrow. In the 30s, technically, for Montrose, for Third Ward, and Sunnyside. Still going to feel a little colder than that, just a little. And that is below freezing. Heights, 30, Bel Air, 29. Here's a wider view at Harris County. We're tracking 29, coming down to 90. So Cypress to Jersey Village, you'll be waking up at 29. Attucks here at 30, and then Mission Bend also just under 30 degrees, below freezing, and still under that extreme cold warning. Notice a cold spot for tomorrow morning is going to be Navasota. You could dip down into the low 20s, maybe even the teens for an hour or two. It's going to be clear skies for tomorrow morning. So not only do we have this cold air that's funneled in, but we also have radiational cooling during the overnight hours. Basically what happens is any warmth we get during the day, if there's no clouds, well, it escapes right back out into space instead of getting trapped down at the surface. So yes, extreme cold all the way through tomorrow for the first part of the day. Teens in the 20s to start. And that means keep all the PE precautions in place. So check in with your friends, with your neighbors, with relatives. Make sure they've got everything they need. If somebody had an isolated power outage, but we got really lucky with that, and they don't have heat, maybe you offer up your home. Pets, they still need to be inside, and maybe check in and see that the plants are still covered well, because we had some pretty strong wind gusts. And so maybe some of those got exposed. And keep the pipes wrapped. I'd say actually just keep it wrapped even through this week, because we're, again, expecting some pretty cold temperatures as we head into this weekend. So we're in the red today. That's still a weather impact alert day because of the cold, nothing else. Tomorrow morning, same thing, we're under a hard freeze, and then we get out of the red, which is out of our hunker down, watch the forecast closely, time frame. The rest of the week, it's just chilly. It's cold. We're expecting a couple of showers on Friday, so that's the day that you not only want to dress in layers, but have a protective outer layer, maybe a rain jacket, maybe an umbrella, if you have anything outdoors. And then this weekend, back to the chilly air. So mornings are going to be in the 20s, high temperatures are in the 40s. So yep, we've totally switched up our weather pattern, and now we are running on the cold side. We're going to be back live with you starting at 12 o'clock. I will see you there. And then meteorologist Pat Kavlin is here at 4 o'clock. And our chief, David Paul, will walk you through the rest of the forecast at 5, 6, and 10 p.m. We'll see you there.